Awesome. Okay, welcome along everyone, and thank you all for joining us for Business Backing Apprenticeship Talent, a conversation with employers. You'll be hearing from various people throughout this session this morning, as well as myself. You'll have Kyle Young from Skills Development Scotland. You'll have a panel of people from a range of companies that have had different experiences of apprenticeships. But first of all, let me wish you all a good morning. My name is Colin Douglas, and I'm part of a company called Tree of Knowledge. If you've not heard of us before, then let me quickly tell you that we are what's known as a motivational training company, and we're based out of Dunfermline. Now, people are often quite confused when I say that. They're maybe not used to hearing the words motivational and Dunfermline close together, but we make it work somehow. We've been on the go for about 13 years now, and our work normally involves traveling around the country. It used to be physically, but now it's all virtually, and we deliver workshops that are designed to inspire. Sometimes to young people, sometimes to old people, sometimes to young old people, sometimes to old young people. But regardless, the overarching theme of our workshops is to provide experiences that have the potential to challenge the way that a person or even a business is thinking. We like to get people thinking about what lies out with their comfort zones and realizing what opportunities are sitting right in front of them. And that's why I'm very glad to be taking part in this discussion with you all today, where we will get a chance to explore some of the opportunities that are available to businesses of all shapes and sizes in Scotland. I should say, first of all, that I am not an expert on the topic of apprentices, but over the next hour, I hope to be a good few steps ahead with my knowledge, and I'll be taking you guys on that journey with me. It is an interactive session, and I would encourage all of you watching to get involved as and when you can, either by using the provided hashtags when posting on social media, or by sending in questions for the panel using the comment section below the video. We've even had some questions that have been sent in ahead of time, and we're hoping to use them throughout our discussion. We'll either answer those questions directly, or at the very least, we'll point you in the right direction for those answers. Now, I'm going to introduce you to our panel of guests in just a second, but before I do, I think it's really important to send out a big thank you to the venue staff for providing such a lovely space as this. I'm not sure about you, but I feel really at home here. Let's introduce our guests sort of one by one. So we'll start with, let's have a little look here. We'll start by bringing in, let's say, Janet Menzies from Mage Control Systems. If you can introduce yourself, your business, your company, your role within that company as well. Sorry, Janet, you're on mute just now. Let's pop you off mute. It's always good to get the first one out of the way.
Apologies. Okay, so my name's Janet Mingus, and I am the Operations Director and co-owner of a small electronics design company based in East Kilbride called Mage Control Systems. We develop embedded control systems using a whole range of core technologies that we can apply across a range of industries, for example, aerospace, renewables, medical instrumentation, perhaps also electrical testing. We've been going now in this kind of shape and form of a good team for about 4.5 years. We started with 5 people, we now have 24. In terms of apprenticeships, we have completed 2 modern apprenticeships in business support roles. We have 3 current modern apprenticeships in engineering and business support roles, and we've also supported 3 foundation apprenticeships across a number of roles. So engineering, digital marketing, and business administration.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that introduction. Next, let me bring on Tony Ellender from Balfour Beatty. Please introduce yourself, your role in the company.
Morning. Thanks very much for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all, and happy day 2 of Scottish Apprenticeship Week. My name is Tony Ellender. I'm the Emerging Talent Manager for Balfour Beatty. Balfour Beatty is the UK's largest construction company, and we've been around since 1909. And we build, well, lots of different things. We build hospitals, schools, we build roads, we repaint the Forth Bridge. We even had a part in the new aircraft carriers when they were being built in Rosyth. We do power lines and we do all sorts of things. We've got offices in Motherwell and Kintore, but our projects are across the whole of Scotland. My role is to look after our apprentice and graduate programmes across the UK. For Balfour Beatty, both are of equal status and equal value, really important to us. And at any one time, we have about 350 apprentices across the UK, of whom 25 are in Scotland. Thanks very much. Good to see you all.
Thank you so much for that. Next, I'd like to bring in Emma Thursby, from Thales. That'd be great. Just introduce yourself, the company, and your role.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emma Thursby. I am the Apprentice and Industrial Training Manager for Thales in Glasgow. We are a global tech company, and we have been based in Glasgow since 1888, so just slightly before Tony and Balfour Beatty. So we employ roughly about 700 people in Scotland, and we're the sole supplier of submarine periscopes and optronics masts to the Royal Navy. And we have been very proud to support apprentices for the last 132 years. We have had apprentices working with us from the day the company was launched back in 1888. My role, I look after the apprentices in the Glasgow site, and they range from manufacturing apprentices to which are our modern apprentice group, and we have some engineering apprentices that are in our GA group, and we've recently launched for our foundation apprentices within the engineering framework. So it's all very exciting.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you for that. Next, I'd like to bring in Ailey Henderson. Please introduce yourself, the company you work with, and your role.
Hi, good morning. My name's Ailey Henderson. I'm a technology apprentice at Sky, the media company, and I'm currently doing a level 8 diploma in IT and telecoms.
Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And lastly, I would like to introduce and in fact hand over to Kyle Young from Skills Development Scotland to introduce himself, his role, and a little bit more about apprenticeships.
Thank you very much, Colin. So yeah, my name's Kyle Young. I'm a Relationship Account Executive with Skills Development Scotland, and today I'm going to be doing a quick session on Scottish apprenticeships, the benefits of them, and how you can get involved, most importantly. So I've got a glamorous assistant that you might not be able to see today. Emma from DYW is going to help facilitate some of the slides for me today. So hopefully my slides will just pop up soon. So just as my slides are coming up now, I will give you a quick introduction. So as I've mentioned, Relationship Account Executive at Skills Development Scotland. In my role, I provide a relationship account managed service to employers in Glasgow and the West, providing them with a single point of contact to help navigate the Scottish skills system. And as we know, the landscape in Scotland is changing quite dramatically, especially as things stand at the moment. So during the session, you'll hear all about Scottish apprenticeships, what is on offer in Scotland, including foundation, modern and graduate, as well as the support that SDS can offer. Although it's not planned, I'm glad to be joined with Thales and Balfour Beatty today, who are actually accounts that I manage at the moment, although I don't go back as far as 1888. So today, there's more apprenticeships available in Scotland than ever before, and they're all based on the skills that employers are looking for. So I hope this session will give you a good understanding about the apprenticeships on offer, and it will inspire you to consider these opportunities in supporting future careers and upskilling. If we go on to the next slide, please. So what are the drivers for work-based learning? So the climate change emergency is further driving economic decisions. A great example of this is the increase of roles within carbon management, for example. There's a greater focus on well-being in the workplace, impacting all the jobs that we do. This can include things like flexible working, investing in personal development, including mentoring. Automation, Industry 4.0, means that there's new skills that are needed, and we need to fill that demand. And of course, the pandemic has impacted the way in which we work. Next slide, please. So as you can see on the screen there, there's 3 different programs: foundation, modern and graduate. And as I mentioned before, they're based on what employers are actually looking for. I do appreciate that there will be employers on this call that might have engagement in each of the programs. It might be one of them, or it might be none of the ones above. However, what I can say is that hopefully by the end of this session, you will get a greater understanding of how to get involved and the benefits to your organisation. Next slide, please. So first and foremost, foundation apprenticeships have been developed by Skills Development Scotland and industry and are designed to ensure the readiness of young people by introducing them to the world of work at an earlier stage. So obviously on the screen you can see at the moment the different kind of elements of a foundation apprenticeship, and with an FA, pupils develop knowledge, skills and capability through a structured, high quality industry engagement, and it provides them, which is the benefit of all, of the hands-on experience with an actual employer themselves. So an FA, as it is it delivered at SCQF level 6, which is the same level of learning as a higher, and this is for senior phase pupils who are in S5 or in S6, and they select one of the 12 frameworks alongside other school qualifications. So traditionally, it's delivered over 2 years. However, there is a 1-year model at the moment as well. So in the traditional 2-year model, in year 1, they will complete the academic aspect of the qualification. And in year 2, they will do the work placement with an employer, ideally face-to-face, as we see a lot of value in this. But obviously, as things stand, this is virtual. And at the moment, there is a pilot for 3 frameworks in SCQF level 4 and 5. Goodness, I can't say that one today. At level 4 and 5, and this is for individuals at a younger age. So hopefully these will be developed in the coming years. Next slide, please. So as you can see above, there's a full list of the different FA frameworks on offer. And if we were to just look across the board, obviously it covers a lot of different industries and sectors, accounts, engineering, hardware and software, IT based, and even social services and young people. Next slide, please. So, of course, today we want to cover what are the actual benefits to an employer. As you can see on the screen, there's some great research being conducted that show the benefits of employers who have already taken on individuals on the programme, very high percentages, and they see a lot of value in the programme. You can access, so with foundation apprenticeships, you can access future talent with no direct costs, whilst tracking future development of your staff, and obviously as a result of bringing in young people, you can develop coaches and mentors within your organisation. The biggest benefit to an organisation is bringing in people or bringing in pupils at a younger age to then develop them through an articulated pathway which could lead on to the likes of modern or graduate apprenticeships. Next slide, please. So modern apprenticeships, this is all about getting a job, getting paid and getting qualified at the same time. So modern apprenticeships offer a blend of academic learning, practical experience, and are available in a wide range of frameworks. Obviously, foundation apprenticeships are available in 12 frameworks. There's over 100 different frameworks in modern apprenticeships at the moment. And these range from financial services to digital, and from engineering to health and social care. Around 12,000 companies offer modern apprenticeships, and these range from small SMEs up to your large top employers in Scotland. And the big benefit of MAs is that they are available for new and existing employees as well. Next slide, please. So let's delve into a bit more of the benefits around modern apprenticeships. Again, there's some statistics on the right-hand side for you, but modern apprenticeships allow an employer to get flexible, tailored training and meet your business needs. It allows you to attract fresh talent and develop the workforce of the future, upskill your employees, improve and retain talent. The good thing about MAs is that SDS contribute towards the training costs, and the amount is based on the age of the learner. Typically, the apprentice will spend around 80% of the time working with you and around 20% of the time working towards a qualification, although this can differ depending on the learner, the framework, or the job role as well. Next slide, please. So graduate apprenticeships. So graduate apprenticeships are a new way for individuals to gain qualifications through work. So graduate apprenticeships are open, are jobs open to anyone over the age of 16 to learn, work and earn a degree up to master's level. The program's been developed with industry and is designed with apprentices development in mind as well. Graduate apprentices are paid employees spending most of their time on the job whilst being supported by a structured university or college working towards a degree. As you can see on the screen there, there's 14 universities and 1 college engaged in the programme. Next slide, please. So what subjects do they cover? So these very much link in with your foundation and modern apprenticeships. So these cover the likes of accounting, cybersecurity, early learning and childcare, and IT. They're available at different levels, and these will be delivered by universities and the college throughout Scotland. Each university and college will deliver a range of these different subjects. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of graduate apprenticeships? So graduate apprenticeships are fully funded, and the programme is suitable for new and existing employees to earn a qualification up to master's degree. Graduate apprenticeships help develop and retrain skilled graduates, and 100% of employers who have used the programme up until now would say they would use the programme again. Next slide, please. So during the pandemic, SDS have worked with a range of partners to respond to the changing skills landscape and provide opportunities for young people. So information on any of the Scottish Government initiatives can be found at apprenticeships.scot, and these include the likes of the Apprenticeship Employer Grant, Adopt an Apprentice, Apprenticeship Training Plan, and the Apprentice Transition Plan and Pathway Apprenticeships. And I'm just going to take you on to the last slide now. And this is a little bit about how you actually get involved into the programme. So hopefully you've taken a lot from the very quick run through of apprenticeships, and you're now looking to take it to the next step. How do we actually get involved as an employer? So at SDS, we offer support on any of your skills needs. So the way it will work is you can call on the number above. Your inquiry will be picked up by our employer helpline before being passed to the appropriate team. So this could the support SDS can offer with could include an account manager, information on how to get involved in our Skills for Growth offer, industry insight from our sector leads, or support from our quality and diversity team, to name a few. So as I say, you can use the number above, or you can go on to apprenticeships.scot for more information. And finally, if you are at a different stage and you actually have a vacancy that you're looking to advertise, apprenticeships.scot offer this, and you can get your vacancy seen by more eyes across Scotland. Next slide, please. I've just got one more, Colin. I'm just going to quickly give you a wee insight into Scottish Apprenticeship Week from SDS point of view. So obviously the Scottish Apprenticeship Week this year is a time to share value that apprenticeships can bring to individuals. And this year's theme is business backing talent, and it can showcase the great things the great things that can happen when employers back talent through apprenticeships. You can use the likes, and I'm sure Colin mentioned this before, you can use the hashtag ScotApp21 to share your story on social media. Thank you very much, and I'll pass you back to Colin.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Kyle. Very, very informational there. We've got a question I see that's just come up from the YouTube comments. Is there a framework for acting? I think someone else expressed a similar question. I can say that at present, an acting framework is not available, and subjects are developed in response to skills demand. All right. Thank you very much, though, for popping those questions in, guys. That's much appreciated. Now, hopefully we've learned a lot there about the different types of apprenticeships. For me personally, I like to see that there's far more behind the curtains than I originally thought. There's way more different avenues and way more things to know about it. And what I want to do just now is actually bring in some people from our panel to discuss some of these points in particular. So we're going to start off. I'll welcome the panel on. Welcome, guys. I'd like to start off by, I guess, starting from the first entry point that young people might experience in terms of apprenticeships and looking at the foundation apprenticeships there. So if I can ask Janet from Mage, perhaps what would you say is the sort of value that small to medium enterprises have investing time in foundation apprenticeships specifically?
Well, our situation was a wee bit unusual. I do have to put it into a context. We didn't always, we aspire to actually take on some foundation apprentices and have them from the beginning and work right through the whole pathway. But we weren't able to do that for a number of reasons. However, what we did do is we assisted. So we helped out with schools and colleges, and we've actually offered some young people opportunities to do that part of the foundation apprenticeship, which they need to do, the essential part in the workplace. So they had school, they had college, and then they would come to us. So we didn't actually have a path for them onto a modern apprenticeship or a job. But what we did do was we facilitated that young person to get that essential opportunity. But what did we get out of it? Our staff were able to develop, our staff welcomed that young person coming in. This was prior to COVID. She came in every week, and our member of staff who actually worked with that young person managed to develop their skills in coaching and workload management and kind of early experience of supervising somebody for just a half day a week. It worked really, really well. And the really nice thing about it was that person had just finished a modern apprenticeship in digital marketing, and the young person who was at college was doing something very, very similar. It was a really nice thing to watch, actually. It was a really nice experience for our whole company. So our member of staff developed really, really well. The young person had a really good experience, and we're looking to do this for another 2 young people, but it's just taken a bit of time because of the COVID situation. We also supported another 2 young people who were doing engineering placements but couldn't finish what they had to do, so they came in and we provided them with some work-based experience that they could do in order to finish the requirements. So we were able to help, and I think it's just the right thing to do. If you're an organisation, you know, give a bit back to the community, do something, you know, like help the future workforce by giving people a hand, just doing a bit of a favour. Good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots there to touch on. That's a really great answer, actually. The whole apprentices, leading apprentices thing is pretty cool, instilling that leadership throughout the company, sort of zooming out and getting the long-term plan in place as well, and also giving a bit back. That's great. In fact, it's a similar question I want to pitch to Emma from Thales about sort of zooming out, the long-term plan, and seeing things a little bit differently.
Yeah, we have only just recently in the last year or so been working with Kyle and SDS on launching the FA framework within Thales. However, we have been working with a lot of school pupils for a number of years, providing a lot of work experience and summer placements and things. And really it was like a kind of an amalgamation of, you can get a qualification and a pathway into employment from essentially work experience, and it made perfect sense when Kyle pitched the idea to us, and we thought it's a no-brainer, you know, let's give it a go. So we've been working with 2 young lads from the local area, and they have unfortunately had to do it virtually, but it seems to be working really well, and they're performing really well as part of their qualifications. So it's all looking really positive for them to develop on into our manufacturing technician apprenticeship and an MA pathway. So looking at that and seeing how successful it is, and the long-term picture and how we can develop our talent from a younger age and have them, I suppose, committed to the company, committed to the work that they're going to do, and they've already got so much experience technically, I suppose, prior to coming to us, because what they're learning at college and what they're getting at school. So and it really is, it's showing really positive signals. So I'm hoping in the next 5 or so years that we can develop our specifically MA programme for our manufacturing technician apprentices. It'll be a solid pathway from FA into MA, and that's how I can see it going. That way you're getting the right kind of the right funding, the right age group. You're getting to mould these young people into the technicians of the future, and then they're bringing with them the new knowledge as well. So we all love a bit of banter, and it's all good fun, it's good light-hearted fun. So and Talis is a fun place to work, and the young guys we've been working with virtually have met quite a few different people from across the business, from not just manufacturing, where it's where their placement is. They've met a few people from the business sector to let them see how the project that they're working on goes from procurement through to setup, through to facilities, through into manufacturing, so that they're getting a really well-rounded experience, and they're loving it. So I'm really positive, and fingers crossed that all been well by the end of the programme on the 1st of April. We'll be able to welcome them as Talis employees to the MA programme.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. Sounds very promising. It's a good way to give those people a chance and get them sort of woven into the fabric of the company. I like that. Next, we'll pass over to, I guess, Tony from Balfour Beatty, just to discuss some stuff about your experience of that similar topic there.
Yeah, thanks very much. Very similar, actually, to my two colleagues there on the panel. We see foundation apprenticeships, I guess, as the first rung on the ladder. The great thing about apprenticeships is you can start in a foundation one, go on to a modern one, and then go all the way on to a graduate one. So it's the first rung on the ladder. I think just to add to a couple of things there, I mean, we've done them in civil engineering, and also rather oddly for a construction company, but it makes sense. We've also supported business admin ones as well, because any large company also has sort of lots of support functions as well. They're a great way of myth busting, we find, both for the young person that comes into the workplace to understand about the workplace, but also about the world of construction or engineering or IT, whatever it is that the companies do. But also myth busting the other way, because it actually exposes our staff to young people other than their own kids, and what's going on in education at the time. So there's a two-way benefit there. And I guess the last bit is, for us, we only have 2 permanent offices across Scotland. Our presence in communities is on the projects that we deliver. So it's a great way of engaging with local communities when a project is there, if you can then support foundation apprenticeships and other school activities whilst the project's being delivered. So yeah, big fan of them.
Brilliant. Awesome. Good to hear. In fact, let me just pitch a question over to Ailey. As an apprentice yourself and going through that sort of process, what would you say is one of the main benefits that you've experienced, whether for yourself as an apprentice or for the company as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, as an apprentice, there's absolutely loads of benefits. Earn as you learn, and getting actual real-time experience from a job. But from the business, there's so much that it actually gives back to the business that I think people might not even realize. You're bringing in diversity, you're bringing in different people who have come from all different walks of life as apprentices, especially if you're really pushing the women in tech, which at Sky they kind of are. Because men and women have different kind of view types and ideas and insights, so it really allows for better problem solving that way. The area that I'm in at the minute, that they have a lot of full male teams, so I've gone in and questioned why they do things a certain way, and they actually just really don't have an answer. And the questioning just really makes teams go and look at their work and actually see what they have. And I think that the benefits of having kind of a gender diverse business is that it attracts a diverse customer base as well, and it helps businesses kind of retain and attract talented people, including women who really want to get into tech, and it's a big and up and coming growing from them, and kind of compared to their peers, I've read that high gender diversity companies actually deliver slightly better returns, and they've outperformed on average. So really, it's a good thing to kind of do, especially as myself coming in to tech as a woman. It's given a lot of benefits to Sky, just having a look at what they do and seeing if there's anything they can change about it.
That's great. Yeah, very interesting stuff there. Awesome. We've actually got a question that's been posted from YouTube here from Joe Malone. Who is the point of contact for adding our business for FA or MAs in business admin? I wonder if I could pitch this to Kyle, if you could come in and speak to this a little bit.
Absolutely. So yeah, very good question, Joe. And as I mentioned, we have a single point of contact to SDS. That would mean that you would come through our either the phone number or the apprenticeships.scot web link. This would then go on to, depending on the size scale of your organisation, it would either go to an account manager or go to another point of contact within the SDS, who I suppose would support you in that whole process. And taking on that FA or ME, finding the framework that's suitable for you, and obviously getting a learning provider that is within your geographic region and can deliver exactly what you're looking for.
Awesome, very cool. So just to sort of go back to what Ely was saying about the sort of inclusivity a little bit, I want to pitch a question to Emma from Thales about maybe your recruitment process and how, I guess, using apprenticeships can perhaps help to make it more inclusive.
Yeah, certainly. Well, obviously, engineering is slightly viewed as more of a kind of male predominant environment, and I'd like to think I'm a champion of trying to encourage more females and have a more diverse workforce, certainly in Glasgow. So myself and there's a team of almost over 60 STEM ambassadors that we are getting involved mostly on a weekly basis, even virtually, to try and encourage this. I'm also, I work with some of my friends who are in the cyber security and tech for trying to encourage females into tech as well. So I think it certainly is a challenge for some engineering companies, and with that we had found that our recruitment process from a few years ago was more guided towards males, really. So what we had reviewed as a company from an early careers team perspective, from a UK-wide perspective, was that we looked to make our recruitment process more inclusive. There was a kind of game-based assessment that we did for our recruitment for our apprentices, and we found that, again, it was more guided to, again, males for a kind of computer game based. So we made it worked with a company called Arctic Shores to make it more diverse, to try and entice more women into applying for the roles. So again, it's a work in progress, and it's not just that's fixed the problem. You know, it's something that our early careers team, our HR teams, and the company as a whole are really pushing to try and make the recruitment process, the apprenticeship process, more diverse, and we're doing everything we possibly can to try and do that. We're now working with some primary schools as well to go in. We're doing the primary engineer STEM event as well to encourage them from little toots all the way up to university level, to encourage people to come into tech and industry. So yeah, it's not an easy fix, like I said, but we're all working in the same towards the same path and the same end goal.
Awesome, very, very cool. Thank you for that. We've got another question that's been pitched here. Sorry if this has been asked already, but do you think the apprenticeship employer grant will be extended after 25th of March deadline? Let me pitch that towards Kyle again, perhaps.
Yeah, thank you for that one. And yeah, I suppose this is a question we're all asking. And truthfully, the landscape changes so often that whatever I was to say now and whatever I was to say in a couple of weeks' time, it changes all the time. But the apprenticeship employer grant is a great opportunity to get £5,000, up to £5,000 for taking on an apprentice. Whether we do see that past the 25th of March is by the by at the moment. We do not know whether that's going to go any further. As I say, the landscape keeps changing. But what I will say is it will be absolutely clear on apprenticeships.scot whether this will be continued. We're all hoping it's continued. Let's be honest here, it's a great incentive for employers to get involved in. And what I would say, if you are looking to get involved in the apprenticeship employer grant, I would say start the conversations with either SDS to understand what frameworks are available for you, or with a learning provider to understand what frameworks are suitable for you. And I'm going to quickly just link this into a comment that Tony made, because it was a very good comment to make around employers naturally focus on, if it's an engineering company, it might be an engineering apprentice, whereas there's a lot of different functions within a lot of large organisations. if we just take your finance and HR and admin and all these different elements within an organisation, there can be apprenticeships across the board. So bringing it back to your initial question, I don't know if it's going to be continued or not. I wish I could tell you the answer to that, but it will be available on apprenticeships.scot. But get involved before the 25th of March.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Kyle. That's appreciated. Just to track back to where we were going there, I appreciated a few panel members spoke about the sort of, I guess, the cultural diversity, the gender diversity that apprenticeships can bring. And what I want to do is just I'm going to ask Janet from Mage, as well as that, do you think there's an element of, I guess, creative diversity that comes with it as well? Perhaps you can speak to that.
I can. I've actually just to resonate with what people have been saying. We have engineering apprentices, and we had somebody who did digital marketing and somebody who did business admin. So again, that small engineering company, but a whole range of different functions, different roles, just to back that up a wee bit. But also just to say, it makes me smile because it just shows you my age. So our digital marketing apprentice came with lots of new learning, lots of ideas, young person, a bit more kind of, I would say, ready-baked in all that world than I was, but he totally persuaded me about Twitter. It was the strangest thing. I thought, as engineering company, what, Twitter? No, come on. Facebook was a stretch. However, and he taught, it's been one of the best things we've ever done. We have such a lot of PR, publicity, networking, recognition, and again, it was all about him knowing stuff like that, coming back with lots of new information about just how to use Google Analytics, just lots of new stuff. But in terms of what he brought, there was an enthusiasm, there was just that keenness to actually share that knowledge and just help us take a look at our company, because I think for us, it's as a growing company, you need young people to help you grow, and you need young people to help you grow in a particular way. They can really help you look at it as Robert Burns would say, to see ourselves as others see us. So actually taking that outside look as a company, do young people want to come and work for us? Like the older people in our company, we need people to come and tell us that we need to be challenged. It's not always easy to hear, but it's always worthwhile. So I would say that the development of your culture needs to have young people to come and help you grow and develop and move on every year, every decade, or whatever. You can't do it without them. So important. But the Twitter example does still make me smile, and it just shows you people come with new learning and they can persuade you. So it was really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's something that we talk about in our workshops as well. It goes for people or for businesses. When you stay in your comfort zone and you just do the same things that you've always done, well, you're doing that within a world that's always changing. So it's going to result in you getting stuck in your ways and not adapting. And I guess young people can be a huge part in avoiding that. We've got a question here from Kirsty Miller. It is, would it be possible to ask the panel, what are the main attributes you look for from your apprentices? Can I pitch that to Tony from Balfour Beatty? Maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting question. And the first thing that we don't look for is the finished article. The whole point of an apprenticeship is it's a starting point for a career. So we look for those generic skills, be they team working, be they communication skills, leadership potential. Ability to use Twitter might be in there in the future, maybe, Janet. I too am a convert. And we look for people that have ambition. It's really important that people see an apprenticeship not just as something they're going to do for the next year, 2 years, or 5 years if it's a graduate apprenticeship, but something that's the first, almost like a starter career. So they don't have to know what they're going to do in 10 years' time or 20 years' time, but it always helps if they've got an idea of the direction of travel and that ambition. And then I'll just throw in a couple of particular Balfour Beatty type ones. So all industries are unique, and all companies within that industry are unique. So there's never any substitute for researching the company that you're applying to. So Balfour Beatty is a construction and engineering company, but we are different to other construction and engineering companies, our competitors. So I think it's really important that you research the company, you know a little bit about it. You don't have to know every single word on the website, but it does help to know what the company's about, what they're doing, what their values are, and whether you think they'll fit into those values. And I'll just finish on one point. And one of the things that we're doing in our own sort of recruitment and attraction, just building on your earlier point about diversity, and the most important diversity of all is one of thought, what we call cognitive diversity. It is by engaging with people in education much earlier, so that actually people are showing an interest in us earlier on before the adverts even go out. So if there's people out there interested in any industry, take advantage of things those industries are doing, because then you've got a story to bring to the selection process as well. Oh yes, I heard about Balfour Beatty when one of the apprentices come and spoke in our school, and this sort of attracted me. So yeah, lots of things, but what we don't want or need is the finished article. But ambition, potential, and some of those underlying transferable skills that I'm sure all of the companies on here would be looking for.
That's great. Thank you very much for that. What I want to touch on as well, actually, and perhaps pitch to yourself, Tony, again, is earlier on, Ailey mentioned that gender diverse companies tend to perform better, I guess, financially as well, and it actually works well for business. And I guess there's maybe an idea, certainly one that I would think businesses would have, that taking on apprentices is maybe a bit of a luxury that could be for further down the line, once they've perhaps reached a level of success. It's almost like they want to get to a stage first and then give back. But maybe that's a little bit backwards. Perhaps you could speak to that a little bit.
I would say that apprenticeships are not a luxury. I would say that any new entrant program, whether it's apprenticeships or graduates, and personally speaking, I think companies need to do both, is critical. Because if you think about the other end, despite we haven't had a formal retirement age for many years now, but people do retire and stop working. So if you don't at least bring in new people to replace the people that are retiring, you're going to run out of people one day. So, bringing in new people is not a luxury, it's business critical. And then there's those other things that new people bring. They bring new ideas, they bring new thoughts. They do bring diversity as well. To pick up on the earlier point, construction is currently not a diverse industry. We want to change that for lots of reasons. It's mentioned that diverse companies bring diverse customers. They think differently, but it's not just about gender diversity or just about ethnic diversity. It's also about things like social mobility, the type of school you went to, the type of experiences that you've had in life before you come to the company. So, plenty of our apprentices, and I'm sure it's the same for the others, have maybe done something else before they join us. They might have worked in retail or IT or manufacturing. And actually, that's great. So that if people have got a little bit of experience in a different industry, bringing that mindset in. So I would broaden the whole diversity thing. Absolutely, any workplace should be 50-50 female, male. If it isn't, it's not as diverse as it should be. It's really that simple. But actually, it's much broader than that, to bring that, the different ways of thinking. That the reality is that the best teams are the ones that have debate and dissent within them. If everybody agrees, you get groupthink and the wrong answers. So really, really important, but it's more than, gender and ethnicity and so on. And one other thing, just on that point, what we find as a company is it's really difficult to do it yourself. So we as a company, and it may be the same for others, we often work through partners who are experts in those areas. So we might work with people like Equate Scotland, for example, who look at female STEM diversity. We work with people like the Prince's Trust, who work with disadvantaged young people, Duke of Edinburgh's Award, people like that, so that you're in associating yourself and working with those partners, you're expanding what your reach is as a business.
Awesome. That's great. Lots there. Thank you very much for that. Let's just turn to this question just now. So we've got from Fiona: does focusing on 16 to 19-year-olds and foundation apprenticeships run the risk of excluding individuals with additional support needs who tend to be a little older by the time they're ready to work. Can I pitch that to yourself, Kyle, if you want to speak to that just now?
It's a very good question, Fiona. And truthfully, I probably am not the best person to answer this question. Within the SDS, we have a equality and diversity team that would be able to support with anything around becoming an inclusive recruiter. There is provision in place within the SDS to support people with additional needs. And if you want to explore that any further, I would be more than happy to put you in contact with someone within the SDS to discuss that any further. But yeah, very good question, but there is provision in place to support.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. I want to pitch a question towards Ailey from Sky. As an apprentice, do you feel like you gained some experience, I guess, across the whole department that benefited you in your role and I guess benefit the company as well?
Yeah, so the way that the apprenticeships work in Sky is that you go into the department and then you basically travel around the department. So I've been in 3 teams now. I've been with a Unix team, a database team, and a virtualization team. So throughout that, I've learned loads of different skills, and most of it's just going to be the general day-to-day running of the teams. But I've also supported in kind of bigger projects. So I supported an internal audit, which obviously required a lot of trust on Sky's part to give it to an apprentice. But they trust that I was able to do the job, and they gave me the support that I was able to kind of do that. And also, supporting the business. So I came in and I noticed that there was a gap for new employees coming in or new apprentices coming in, and basically then was able to start making guides and a page to then support these new people coming into the business. And it wasn't something that they'd realised that was a gap until I'd come in, which was really good for them. And it's not always about supporting us as apprentices. We are able to then go out and look for our own courses as well to go complete. There's lots of LinkedIn courses that you can do and lots of other kind of details. And I'm able to go to different departments myself and just learn a bit more to engage in all areas of the business, as they've kind of said is quite important to do so. So there's some freedom with having an apprentice there. You're not always going to have to support them. They are going to be able to go out and do their own thing.
Muted there, guys. Okay, perhaps I can, first of all, thank you for that, Ailey, that's much appreciated. Can I pitch a question towards Emma from Talent? I want to ask you about, I think it was mentioned earlier about instilling that leadership in current staff, and I guess almost upskilling current staff through the use of apprenticeships.
Yeah, we're certainly something that we're pushing, and we're really encouraging across the whole of the Glasgow site. We have currently got 9 people upskilling just purely within manufacturing at the moment on the GE programme now. Some of them were modern apprentices that maybe had like a year or so in between finishing their MA and then moving on to the GE programme, and just some other skilled technicians that had expressed an interest for further education and had really demonstrated the want and the type of skills that we needed for somebody to develop into an engineering role. So we've got 20 GAs on our Glasgow site at the moment, spread between industry and engineering. But as I said, 9 of our guys that we've got, guys and girls that we've got that are doing the GE programme are upskilling from their current role that they're in. So for us, I think it's the upskilling is definitely important, because it's almost giving back a wee bit, like what Janet said, that you're giving back to your staff. Kind of well done, that you're really showing the kind of the acumen that we're looking for the future, and it's not necessarily just young people. We have a varied age group within the GE programme that we are upskilling. It's something quite important for me. I would like to try and make sure there's at least 1 or 2 from the business going into the GE programme from upskilling, as well as from external hires into the GE programme as well. So we've got a nice blend. They're a good peer group as well when they go through their years. For example, I know I've been sharing this absolutely daft on LinkedIn and my Facebook, but we've currently got Samir Khan Young, who is one of our GAs currently doing his 4th year at Strathclyde University, and he's been one of the finalists for GE of the Year. So we're incredibly proud of that, as it's still relatively new to our business. Is it, again, the GE programme within maybe the last 4 or 5 years. So, and to have to see the fruits of the labour, I suppose you could say, that you can see it really is making a difference to our business. It's making a difference to our individuals, and seeing the development and how the actual employees themselves are encouraging others to want to take on that opportunity. Again, we've done GEs in business as well, so it's not necessarily just for engineering. I've looked at it myself for a couple of things, thinking, oh, quite fancy that myself. But so yeah, we are looking at trying to upskill a lot of people, and as Ailey said, there's LinkedIn courses and there's additional courses that we as Talus, we have a kind of training consultancy as well, that we offer a lot of in-house training to upskill our current staff. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and do a 4-year degree. There's the Workforce Development Fund as well that's offered to try and upskill your current workforce, that we're trying to utilise for colleges, for people that perhaps maybe want to do a NEBOSH, if they want to do kind of health and safety, or basic kind of computer training. You know, you feel for an older generation of staff that are maybe seeing the younger generation coming in thinking, oh, I don't know how to use that, and this is new, and you know, and the younger generation are upskilling also our older generation of workforce. But utilising the Workforce Development Fund lets us give the staff an actual certificate and proper learning, registered learning, to try and help upskill. So it's something that I'm really championing at the moment from within my role for the Glasgow site, and hoping that more sites than Talus in the UK take on the same challenge.
That's great. It sounds like it's working very well. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll look at this question just now. We've got from Lorraine. Can I ask, how do we recruit and provide a window cleaning / roof cleaning apprenticeship? Can I throw that one at Kyle just now, if you want to give your opinion on that?
Absolutely. I'm just before I answer your question, Lorraine, I'm just going to touch on what Emma just mentioned there, and it was around the Flexible Workforce Development Fund. And this is a fund that you'll be able to access. You'll be able to see on apprenticeships.scot a bit more detail about that. That's up to £15,000 towards bespoke training if you are an apprenticeship levy payer in Scotland. Again, just something that not all employers know and know how to access. It's administered through colleges and some private training providers, and again, if you've got any more questions on that, you can come through the employer helpline for that. But yeah, to answer your question, Lorraine, a very good question. So the process is just making sure that there's a framework there within apprenticeships.scot. So if you go into apprenticeships.scot, go through employer and go to find an apprenticeship, you'll be able to search through the different apprenticeships there, find a framework that is suitable for yourself. Once you find that there's a framework there that kind of meets your demand of the apprentice you want to bring on board, you want to find a training provider, and that's all accessible through the website as well. So if you find a cleaning-based framework, then you can click on that, find a training provider in your local area, have a conversation with them. What we'd always recommend is having a conversation with multiple training providers, maybe 2 or 3, find out what their delivery is actually like, and if that is suitable for you. They will be able to tell you what how much SDS can contribute towards the training fees, and a bit more information about the actual delivery of the apprenticeship itself. At which point they will be able to support you in taking on an apprentice. You can advertise the vacancy on apprenticeships.scot, which, as I mentioned before, will give more eyes and exposure to that vacancy that you do have, and hopefully there'll be a successful applicant in there that you would take on, and then that's you. And then, as we mentioned before, it's not just cleaning and roofing. There's multiple other frameworks within, I'm sure, your organisation that you could utilise and take it from there.
Brilliant. Awesome. Love that. Let's turn to this question that we've got in. I'm going to pitch this to Tony from Balfour Beatty. Sandra's asked, can I ask employers what one key benefit would they share with employers considering taking on apprenticeships?
And we're only allowed one. Sorry, Sandra, there's lots. I would say that the biggest one for us is business sustainability. without taking on apprentices, how is your business going to survive in the long term without that new intake? So that would be, there's lots of others, but that would be the one for me.
Brilliant, awesome. Perhaps I can pitch a question to Janet from Mage. I want to ask about, I mean, you've got a lot of experience with the apprenticeship roles and how they start, but what was your initial experience if we go back to the first time?
I think if I have any message to say today, it's really about to just encourage other SMEs to look at this and be confident that, yep, you can do it. I still first started to look at this when we only had about 8 people, and like that whole thing, but it was a focus in engineering, and let's get some apprentice engineers. So how do we do that? And I hadn't a clue. It was the task was given to me, and so I hadn't a clue. I really didn't. So I Googled. And I came across the website for Skills Development Scotland. I filled in the inquiry form and I just haven't looked back. We were contacted very, very quickly by an advisor with whom I'm still in touch. We've been given practical advice, we've been given guidance, we've been given support. We were offered the fabulous opportunity to have the Skills for Growth programme, so to be involved in that. So looking at our assessment for were we ready, what did we need to do, who were we as an organisation, and we actually weren't quite ready. We'd zoomed ahead a wee bit too fast, and I think that just taking time to breathe, to take stock, to look at it. So again, all that practical advice, I would say to people, I can't stress enough to other SMEs, there's so many opportunities sitting waiting. The other aspect about, remember, it's not just if you're an engineering company, engineers, there's so many different roles that your organisation could take on that will help you grow. Somebody else asked a question earlier, what's the one thing you would say for us? Our apprentices have helped us grow and helped us grow in different ways that we didn't know we could, because we took on a whole range of roles. But I would also say that there was lots of myths were busted. I thought, we can never afford this. We're not big enough. We don't know enough to help a young person learn. We can't do it. We just can't. And then again, listening to the advice, looking at everything else, it's a big world. The framework is big and it kind of got bigger, but it became really, really structured. And our advisor helped us see the pathways through that. We started to understand how we could navigate through that framework. We looked at where we could tap in, where was the right place for us. Was it foundation apprenticeship level? Was it modern apprenticeships? Could we aspire to graduate apprenticeships, which absolutely we do. But then there was colleges and schools and a whole range of training providers. And at one point I was like, oh, again, our advisor was so helpful, so incredibly helpful. And here we are, the proof was in the pudding. Look at where we are now. Look at the young people that have had opportunities with us, and we have had opportunities to work with them, that I don't think it would have happened. I just don't. But again, there's also help with funding. So again, all of that different levels of advice. How do you go about it? How do you understand training providers? How do you understand the framework? How do you possibly get funding if you can? And look at how that can help your business grow in ways that you never thought it could. I couldn't stress this enough. Please, if you are an SME, just talk to somebody. SDS, developing the young workforce. These organisations have great people and you won't look back.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I guess just before we finish off, if Kyle, you could provide just those details again as to where people can get in touch, where they can get some support from.
Absolutely. So just to touch on what Janet was saying there, I think we still fight the battle with what an apprenticeship actually is. And I think these sessions help, I suppose, myth bust, as Janet said, what an apprenticeship is. Truthfully, when I go out to speak to companies like Thales and Balfour Beatty, there's at the early stages, there's a lot of really good work going on around apprenticeships already. And I suppose that the next stage would be get in touch with SDS and find out how we can actually work this into your organisation. But yeah, as I mentioned before, there's a telephone number on the SDS website and also apprenticeships.scot if you're looking for any more advice.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, guys, we'll bring this to a close now. I want to thank all of the panel. I want to thank everyone for their inputs, everyone for commenting and asking questions, all for taking the time to come along and watch the stream today. Thank you very much, guys, and take care.